today some bites from the most kind, beautiful, and a good expert of forensic entomology, crime scene expert, and a kind heart. So she's Dr. Paola from Murdoch University, Australia. So we'll have some talks about her achievements, her caseworks, and the present proposals. So it's very good, and she accepted my request to just talk something about the future forensic entomology, forensic taxonomy, and one or two projects she is running. So this is all about this. So you can see Dr. Paola is there. So I'll take some bites from Dr. Paola. Yeah. Hi friends. As I told you regarding the some bites from Dr. Paola, here she is. So I'm going to ask some question like her experience, her achievements, and her thinking about forensic motivation. So first of all, thank you, Dr. Paola, for accepting my request for your good and
Thank
good
you
words.
for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to talk about forensics.
So my first question is regarding forensic entomology. So can you please tell us about the need of forensic entomology for present or future situation of forensic science?
So, for who don't know, forensic entomology is the study of insects in a forensic setting. So, often we connect insects with dead bodies and murders. It's not true. Insects can be in forensic investigation even because there is a situation in which insects are in products that are supposed to be clean, for example, food or different kind of products. So, as forensic entomologists, we work in different scenarios that can be related to a criminal investigation or a civil investigation. Insects are everywhere. That is the main point. The baseline is that insects are in any environment. Insects are often connected with the presence of people and animals because they like us, they like what we eat, they like our trash, our products. So there is an easy connection. They come because they can eat us or our product or our trash. So it's an easy connection that can happen. When a body dies, so we jump in the realm of entomology related to death investigation, that is medical, legal entomology or veterinary entomology if the body is an animal. It's very interesting because a dead body produce odors and some insects are attracted by these odors. So in a very short time, insects arrive and lay eggs, start a decomposition process, and we can work on the time of which happened. So we can use insect to estimate the time since death, but based on what kind of insects, we can also say something about the movement of the body from a primary crime scene to a secondary crime scene. We can pinpoint the presence of toxicological substances, drugs, poisons, because insects eat a body, and if the body is clean, fair enough, but if the body is full of drugs, well, we will find that in the insects. We are what we eat. And there are other opportunities, like, for example, getting information from the molecular point of view, so DNA, of what they're eating and what kind of context the victim has had. So from the gut content of maggots, for example, we can get information possibly of a perpetrator or a person that is connected with the crime. So the need of forensic entomology is because insects are everywhere and there is not a key evidence, there is not a queen or king evidence. All the evidence can be good for the investigations. Insects are pretty easy to find and to study. We don't need crazy technologies. Insects are everywhere, so they can give us answers, and we need these answers for the prosecution and for justice in general.
Dr. Paola, what is forensic taxonomy or body farming, and how will you connect forensic entomology with body farming?
So the possibility of using anthropology research facility, normally called for easiness as body farm, is that the composition process is different for different animals. Overall is kind of similar, but obviously if we have an experiment done with a dead mouse or a dead human or a dead elephant, obviously it's going to be different. And when we are in court of law, it is important to showcase that we know things that happen to human if we are looking in a case in which a human is involved. The body farm or anthropology research facilities are not many around the world. Back in the days, there was only one in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the United States. Now there are a few more in the United States, about 7 or 8. There is one in Europe and one in Australia. The structure of these facilities is different. Sometimes they can have the full body, sometimes they can have only partial remains, sometimes they cannot have human bodies, but I still consider that. And it is important that knowing that the taphonomy, so the transformation of the body throughout the decomposition process, is different in different environments. So a crime relating to a dead body that happened in Western Australia or in mainland India or on the seashore of India or in Siberia or in Mexico will be different. So we need to have the baseline information, the baseline data, the baseline research done on human bodies in different locations, because the decomposition is going to be very different. I had some experience in the desert back in the days, and for example, in forensic entomology in the desert, you will not find flies very often, and flies are normally the thing that arrive the first and the most. So it is very important to understand that donors are very important for us, but also that different environments can play different roles in the decomposition process.
As I know, you have some kind of facility regarding body farming or forensic taphonomy at Murdoch University. Is it true?
We have a facility that we can use, where we can use animals. We cannot use human bodies. The only place in Australia where human bodies, donors, can be used is after, that is in near Sydney. But yeah, we have a facility in which we can use the best proxy that we can use, that is pigs, swines.
And can you please tell us about the suitcase case, your study, your project, and what are the good results from that?
So the bodies are found everywhere, sometimes in something that is called concealed environment. So a place in which the body is hidden somewhere. Sometimes can be a suitcase, can be a bag, can be the boot of a car, or can be a coffin. Now, in this situation, the typical decomposition process is modified because the typical players of the decomposition, that are the insects, are not allowed to get in. Now, we have different circumstances. We can have restricted access, full access, or partially restricted access. So full access is when the body is there and can be accessed by the insects. Restricted access is when the body is really sealed away from the environment. For example, a suitcase that has a zip and the zip is closed, or any other thing that is actually closed out, but it's not completely excluded. Insects are pretty strong and pretty smart, so they can get there. Partially restricted environment is when we have a restriction, but it's a bit looser. For example, a trash bin in which there is a lid, but there is not a zip. So the insect can pass in, as well as a coffin, they can pass in, but they will take time. It is very important to understand that in a concealed environment, the insects will arrive at some point, but will take longer. And this gap of time has to be studied, because this is the information that we had to provide to the investigators. Now, in Australia and everywhere in the world, many situations happen in which the body is found in a suitcase or in a trash bin or in a boot of a car or in any other concealed environment, because, well, it's easy to move a body from place to place using something like a suitcase that is easy accessible and is cheap. And the person that does that can move the body, can run away, find an alibi, and we have problems before and after, because before the victim is found, the investigation is not about a death, it's not about a murder, it's about a missing person. So it's not the forensic group that goes, but our criminologists that normally go and try to understand what happened. And we lose time and we lose evidence. And at the same time, the possible perpetrator goes and maybe we'll never find it. When we find the body, so we have a victim, maybe some time has passed by, and in that situation, then the decomposition takes over, and it's very difficult for pathologists to get information, toxicology to get information, and also forensic entomology to provide more information. So also fibers and any other hard traces, trace analysis is very hard, and this inside of the suitcase that we live in or any other concealed environment, and these cause troubles for the investigators because we can't pinpoint the perpetrator using things that cannot be analyzed. When we started working in this field, we realized there are pretty much only 10 works done, 10 research done around the world, some in the United States, some in Malaysia, some one in Australia that was done by us a few years ago as a pilot experiment, and one in Europe, I believe. There are just a few, like 10 different situations around the world. Only a few suitcases or few trash bins were used, so not a very good baseline data were available. So we decided to make a large experiment, and we are talking about 72 between suitcases and wheelie bins, put in the environment for a long time of research, was about 3 months in our environment during winter. So it's also a problem of season. Many of these work were done in summer, we did a work in winter. And we got data that now are useful for the investigation in Western Australia. If we had the opportunity to do that in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, we will have different kind of information that will be useful for your specific investigation.
Thank you. As you know, you are also connected with some kind of domestic violence, and you are also doing something for that national and international level. So what is that program or project?
As a woman myself, mother of 2 daughters, I'm very close to domestic violence and gender-based violence, and as a forensic expert that worked on several cases, and many of these, most of it were women. I'm very fond of projects regarding developing forensic science for domestic violence investigation to improve the knowledge and the capability and the effectiveness of the investigation. So in the last few years, I had 2 things in my mind to do. One was developing specific project dedicated to this kind of cases. Cases that I was myself in trouble to resolve because there were not the information, and one is the suitcase cases, and also try to raise awareness in the population to understand what we do behind closed doors of the lab. And this can help the population to come close to the forensic science and understand what we do, understand our challenges, but also come to us and say, I had this problem, the investigation about my friend went wrong because, and maybe pinpointing which one is the research that we have to develop the most. The way to reach this has been the use of very visual art, that is the Red Shoes project, placing red shoes, following the idea of the original artist Elina Chauvet. And we're at the 2nd year of this amazing experience, very tiring but very fulfilling, and I hope this can be a good conversation starter for many things, from project, for science, and for awareness for everyone.
As we know, you are a good expert of forensic entomology. So regarding Murdoch University, can we have some kind of collaboration to take your help, or just to...
The doors of my office, the doors of my lab, the doors of my facilities are open to any collaboration for any students that want to come over, students that maybe can apply for a PhD or an honors time, depending on the situation and the time that I have and the background that they have. We can definitely consider collaboration and developing research together. But as we did with you, Yogi, and was a great opportunity, we can also collaborate on data that you guys have and you don't know what to do and how to write. It is very important to bring science out to write publication, because if not, the information stays in your drawer and cannot be used for real investigation.
So one last question, there is a need to solve, to investigate crime, national and international level. So should we connect with each other, or should be there a big platform like WHO? So can we start working on WFO, World Forensic Organization? What do you suggest regarding this?
It is, I believe in collaboration and communication in any situation. Sometimes it's difficult to talk about cases because we are under confidentiality, but there are ways that we can work around that, signing non-disclosure documents and things like that. So we are as strong as our network is, as our knowledge is, but our knowledge can be only limited.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes doesn't exist. And Sherlock Holmes has put Watson that works for him, but even the two together we have to forget about him. We have to forget about Sherlock Holmes does everything. We need friends, we need collaborators, we need to train each other to understand each other, how we communicate, how we handle evidence, and how we can use the evidence in the best way possible.
So, thank you so much for your time and giving so much detail in this short time. So, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
So, this was Dr. Paola, and we talked to her about the forensic science, motivation, collaboration, the future of forensic entomology, taphonomy. So, it was a great talk with her, and we'll try to take some more expert for you so that we can connect with the different expert of the world and can make Indian forensic at a other level, upgrade level. So this was all about this interview of Dr. Paola. Thank you.